Yo, what's up guys? More Siege, and actually bringing back one of my old teams that I haven't used for a while. And the main reason is kind of lame to be honest, but I'll tell it once you see the team as well. But yeah, this one is one of my typical teams. I use this pretty much every Siege. It is somewhat harder to use because of the Camilla meta, and I guess everyone is also super used to it that this is being played. So for that reason, you can't really spam it into everything anymore. So normally I was also really saving this team of using this team against like the hardest defenses out there. Currently, I would say that there are a lot of defenses countering this. Mainly like if there's a Kiglet in there, you can't really go with the Kiglet because the Belial might be reset. It might be pretty hard to get your skills in. There's also some other teams where it just becomes a little bit more difficult of getting anything to die, and therefore it doesn't really work that way. But this defense on the enemy side was actually pretty weird. Like, why Camilla and Molly though? That's just a pretty weird thing in general of, I would say, putting next to each other on defense. Like Carcano is kind of outdated, but yeah, no, it's kind of outdated. We have Windies, man. Windies are just too broken. We have one or two like still running Carcano defense, but they're all like backline kind of stuff, and it is not too bad. I guess in lower ranks you can maybe get away with it. But if you were to put a Carcano on defense, you might as well put like a shit ton of damage on wind on it because you know you're gonna get winded on that one because it's just too good of a tank. Like you can't armor break it. He doesn't really care about that the shield is not working for him because of Carcano shooting through the shield, but that's just, the unit is just too good. The unit is literally too good. Like, this is one of those sieges. I used a lot of those Windies. Maybe too many. So next fight, more Windies. Yay. So this was actually an interesting defense. Haven't seen this before yet. Molly, Carcano, and the Celia. And I was, okay, we have the interesting interaction where Celia keeps stripping things. I keep applying shields. And therefore, he keeps applying cleanses to me. Or, well, Hey Gang applies glances to me. However, not the case if they actually go for that AoE sleep over there. I also somewhat expected to be able to kill the Carcano faster, because the moment you kill Carcano, this team is done. Like, this team does absolutely nothing anymore. But it actually did take me a little bit longer than expected. The Carcano was somewhat on a tanky set. I kind of expected Carcanos like this to be like super high on damage and just call it a day, because, well, I guess the Kiglets, or not the Kiglets, the Celias in this case was decently on the damage, and maybe that was his way to play. Also, the interaction is weird, because you see the sleep right now, and then the sleep is removed, because the cleanse of Hey Gang works after the turn of Celia. It's the same thing with the interaction of Celia and Josephine, because now you sleep and now you don't. Like, that's the weird thing. Because Celia will first sleep, finish her turn, and then Josephine takes the turn. So it's not an insta cut the moment that. So it's the passive happens, the turn happens of Celia happens, and then the passive of Hey Gang happens, which it kind of makes sense. But at first, when you see it, they're like, what the hell is going on? Because now, like, oh, I'm slept. Oh, I'm not slept. It's super weird. But in the end, the team worked out. It's not the craziest of good teams. I've been using Hey Gang a little bit more in recent sieges. Hey Gang is pretty strong in siege offense as well, especially if you have those, I would say mainly against like Leonels and that kind of stuff. It doesn't add enough where Hey Gang just not instantly fucks up your whole team pretty much. Like Hey Gang is definitely pretty strong. It's that in the long fight he doesn't always do that much, but if there is a fight where he has like the constant cleanse mechanic, where you constantly provide some kind of buffs and it's constantly getting cleansed and that kind of stuff, or the enemy is cleansing or anything like that, he becomes kind of like a ragdoll, like hyper enabler for the other units to take more turns, and that was kind of his job in this match as well. But this fight definitely did take a little bit longer than expected. The Mieng on this case was another Mieng that was on Destroy, would have helped out a little bit as well. Just the Windy was on Destroy. But let's speed up this fight a little bit, because otherwise we're sitting at this fight for the whole like rest of the video. But the idea behind it was okay, was not too bad. How it in the end worked out, not that great. And I had a few more of those offenses actually. So this is fighting the exact same team again, and kind of somewhat the same idea, but in this case we had a Lulu in the middle. Still Windy over there, like too many Windies, man. Too many Windies. But yeah, in this case, a Rigel. And Rigel's also one of those units that you feel like he should do a lot of damage. His S2 is decent amount of damage, But this S1 feels pretty lackluster. Like it has that RNG factor, like do I hit 2 times or 3 times, which is definitely a pretty big difference between the two. But yeah, the damage on it isn't too crazy good. And you keep getting the sleeps. The Celia is somewhat annoying, I guess. And in this case, that actually did hurt me quite some. And I was still for, pretty much for the main thing. Like, I was somewhat lucky on those procs, not gonna lie. This team could have been pretty bad, so this was definitely not a way to play against this that much. But once again, team is on the same idea. The moment you kill the Carcano is armor breaking. The other units don't armor break. You're pretty much in the Gucci, right? So once you kill that, you're definitely fine. But these Celias actually tend to do quite some damage. There was more damage on that Celia than I wanted to admit at first. But let's speed this up a little bit because we have seen the team already. Like at some point you do land that armor break. You do get those healings in. It's just the bad part if you get armor broken on the Rigel at the right moment. That's kind of where things go bad. But the moment you actually manage to kill it, then you're kind of good to go. And yeah, these Carcanos were, I would say, decently efficient. They did do a decent amount of damage while still being kind of hard to kill. But at some point you kill them and then the whole fight is just like nonsense bruisering on time 16 speed. This took for, like, even like this it takes fucking forever. Like this fight was like fucking 16 minutes, man. Holy shit, you can't even see what's happening. Like I needed time, how long was this clip? This clip was a good 6.5 or like 5.5 minutes. Holy fuck, not doing that again. Okay, bringing back the Leo plus the Feng Yang. In this case with a Tetra. I talked about it before, mainly against the Kikis, where I would say that something like a Juno or a Veramos might feel like is good, but often is not that great. And that's where I definitely do think that a Tetra becomes pretty strong. Tetra is also a good healer if your units are defense-based, because Tetra's healing from own max HP. So if you have a lot of defense, your HP is somewhat more lacking, whereas a Molly would heal a lot less because it's based on the HP of the receiver, whereas in this case the HP healing is based off just the Tetra, so of the giver. And that in most cases is a lot higher. Sure, we do have the issue of Kumar providing Oblivion, but I don't really think that's that much of an issue. Like it's pretty easy to shake off because Leo 1 turn, Tetra 1 turn, it's gone. Tetra 1 cleanse, it's gone. Feng Yang with the S2, which I only keep for removing the skill itself, it's gone. So with all of that, it's pretty doable, I would say. But you have to keep on pace to actually kill that Kiki pretty fast, because the Tetra might in the end also die to those kind of hits. But in this case, that did work out. Was this a tricky hit? I'm not entirely sure. I think it was kind of doable. But I would say on the enemy side, defense-wise, I definitely don't think it's bad. Like, it has the good RNG factor. If it's, like, good at countering Leos, the Kiki takes a bunch of turns. It is on Destroy. I think the Kiki was not on Destroy in this case. I think just the Rio was on Destroy. I'm not even 100% sure. Does Kiki on Destroy work? Let me know in the comments. But if that does, definitely Destroy is the way to go, I would say. Next fight, well, the very simple, typical fights, Robo, and then all of this. I had some people in the chat give me some other options for this as well. But there's one thing that I changed. I made Nefty's Despair, and I made Nefty's a lot more damage, which definitely helps for this team as well. I could go for some different places of like the Farad, but Nefty's Despair and damage is nice. Then the typical Lucian team, which someone just mentioned like, ooh, be careful, they're all on Swift. And I just killed all of it, and I said, yeah, me too. I actually missed all critters on that Carcano though. In this case, I was like, okay, which skill is more annoying? I was going for the skill 3 because it had more, it has a multi-hit in there, but still easy clear up by that Jin. Another team, another Kiki. Kikis are, I would say, pretty strong in certain situations, but this one felt a lot weaker. I would definitely say that the Kumar variation of this felt a lot stronger, because I could probably use this team against the Kumar variation as well, but I felt like it would have been a little bit more tricky. But no, I think both of the teams that I used against it worked pretty well. Maybe this would have worked more against the Kumar as well. The thing is, the Kumar has a lot better healing. Like, the Perna has one heal, like a little bit, 6k, whereas the Kumar just straight up heals like freaking half HP or more. Like if you have some decent artifacts to it, it heals like quite a lot. So that is definitely hard to go for. But this team, yeah, it's just one of those. If you have these units, absolutely ruin up this team, because this team, it doesn't even need good stats. Like you just need decent speed on the 2 left units, the water units, decent survivability, that's about it. And then a very tanky Windy that can take good amount of hits on both HP and defense, is fast enough, and it's just very simple. Like Windy's just too broken, man. But yeah, that's definitely some Windy teams that I absolutely recommend everyone to rune up if you happen to have these units. But you could replace the Amelia with a Lulu as well if you only happen to have the Bolveric, or if you happen to have the Bolveric multiple times. And that is definitely an option you could go for as well. But yeah, these fights are all tending, like, and every Windy fight tends to take long. That's just how it is. And therefore, we're speeding up those Windy fights a little bit more. And in this case, Windy, if I go full additional damage, he actually does like 2Ks-ish, but most of the time you want to have that left artifact on damage reduction from fire in most cases. And we have another fight with some more Feng Yangs. Well, truth to be told, I currently have 3 Feng Yangs, 3 Leos, 3 Elias. So I have a lot of those. I also happen to have 2 Sonias right now. Sonia's pretty good in offense as well. Don't use it too much because I'm not allowed to show all of the Sonia offense we have. I have 3 Tianas, could do more with that, like the Nefty's team that I do with the Robo right now, I could do with a Tiana as well, but I kind of like the chip damage that the Robo provide as well. Like, sure, it has a little bit of RNG of landing its strips, but it also definitely has the factor to where it's pretty strong for, yeah, just pretty strong for the damage output it has. Because if it moves twice, man, everything is like 100% guaranteed dead. But in this case, team was mainly relying on the Tiomars not doing too much damage because of the Leo. If there is a very strong heavy damage Leo it might actually kind of counter this team. But in most cases, people don't really go for that too much. We kind of know the specific guilds where every team that could be a Leo counter is a Leo counter. And most of the other guilds don't have any Leo counter. So we kind of, like at some point in lower ranks, I kind of think you can get away with all of this kind of stuff. Also, that Tiomars got pretty much one hit, like 1 hit to passive, but 1 hit by that Feng Yang. Man, Feng Yang is doing too freaking much damage. I actually do have upgrades for Feng Yang on runes. I just have to get the grinds for it, but I don't want to do R5 because R5 just sucks at the moment, so... Yep, I will get those at some point. I got a quad roll defense in Sil 5. And that is the team that was in the thumbnail. Sorry that you guys had to wait for it that long. But this is my best LD snipe team. And the team is actually pretty 5-fat. I showed it before. The thing is, you want to make the Dark Cassandra move first. You want to make the Lima move afterwards. So you have the invisibility still on the Dark Cassandra. So the Dark Cassandra can't really be hit by anything. You could replace the Lima also with a Wusa or anything like that. Even like a... Ileana maybe. It doesn't provide any healing. Would kind of recommend to go for the healing. But as you can see, you have a lot of options for ignore defense. In this case, I had to kill the same unit twice because of the revive. But there's just a lot of stuff going on this team. And especially against some high defense stacking units like Artemil, Manon, those kind of stuff. It definitely makes it difficult for him to get anything in. And the moment that you get this many buffs on a Dark Cassandra, she also tends to do a lot more damage. You don't have to have any will runes or shield runes on the Odin and you still max stack it. So I would say very solid team, but very much not free to play. That's also definitely a thing. So this team, one of those teams that has been giving me some loses here and there. But the moment that I use it against teams that I pretty much guarantee to outspeed, like the moment that this team loses is mainly either super hard RNG, a Kinky, which I shouldn't use this team into, or using this team into something that outspeeds me. But the moment that I outspeed and actually up the speed of all of those units a little bit, there's pretty much no losing for this team. There's a lot of backups, weird stuff, stunners, pushbacks, silences, healing, all of that kind of good stuff that just makes it work. And that is still a 10-10. So I actually want to get, I'm currently on 10 LD5, or no, wait, I'm on 9 LD5s. I want to get 10 LD5s. Mainly because I want to make a siege video of 1 LD5 per offense, like all offenses through. Would be nice if I get 30, so I would go all LDs on every fucking thing, but 30 LD5s, that's going to take me a good amount of like. We're gonna see that happening at the 20th anniversary. Guys, thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video.